This phone is ridiculous. It might be the cheapest Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 smartphone on the market right now. And I just don't know how they've managed to do it. There will be some compromises here that we're going to look at shortly. But for now, just keep that in mind. And it doesn't stop there either. You also get IP68 to IP69. You get LPDDR5X Plus, you get UFS 4.1, the list just goes on. And 7,200 mAh battery, all in this package right here. And it doesn't cost that much money either. Before I say it, try and guess in the comments how much you think this is gonna cost, with all that been mentioned so far. Well, if you managed to guess around £700, then well done, because this, for the 512GB version, it will cost you £709. You can get up to 1TB version, and the 1TB version will set you back £799 here in the UK. And that's why I said this is a ridiculous smartphone, because for that price point, you shouldn't be getting that kind of specification in there. But anyway, let's start with the design. On the back, we get a big slab for the camera array, and it has all this red little hint there, which I really like. The red kind of reminds me of red camera in a way. You got Nubia there, so this is a Z80 Ultra, and the Z70 I think we reviewed before as well. But yeah, this is the latest one. And on the back here, you got this matte finish with this sort of like star effect on there, like glitter effect, but it doesn't shimmer or anything like that. It's just kind of like subtle, but this will attract scratches over time unless you put a case on it. Although this is good for fingerprint magnet, it doesn't attract any because of the material that's used, which is pretty good. Got the camera there, including that periscope camera on there as well. Again, Neo Vision with that red dot on the corner there. This is squared off on all the corners. I used to like squared off phones like the Samsung Galaxy Note series and stuff like that, but I think over time I've kind of been conditioned into liking curved or round edges, which I'm better used to. It's got slight curvature on the back as well, which makes it easier and more comfortable to hold on the back, which isn't too bad. Up top we have IR Blaster, so a lot of Chinese brands still do IR Blaster this day and age, which is good because I've managed to be able to use it to turn on AC at an airport lounge recently, or change TV channels when what's on TV is not what I want to watch. And then on this side we have a volume rocker, power button in red as well, sort of like reddish, pinkish, purpley color. Anyway, and then there's a dedicated 2-stage button for the camera right below that. Again, just within reach of your thumb if you really want to judge the phone by that as well. And then on the other side, we have a switch button for the silent switch. So you can go from like silent mode, you can go, yeah, it's just 2 modes, silent mode and normal mode. So you can switch using that key there. That's kind of useful because it just makes it easy to quickly switch. If you're going into a meeting, you can just quickly flick it. So you don't have to go into your settings to modify anything else, which is cool. Like I said, this is IP68 and IP69 rated. And in terms of the display, this is 6.85 OLED. It's 144 Hertz. So if we go into the settings, we'll be able to change the refresh rate in the settings on the display area. And then you got auto, you have 60 Hertz, you got 90 Hertz, you got 120 Hertz and 144 Hertz, which you can pick which one suits your preference, but I guess gamers out there will probably go for the max 144 Hertz to get the best possible experience when gaming, so it's nice and fluid. This display is also 1.5K and it has under display camera and 2592 Hertz dimming. The under display camera, it's barely visible, you can't actually see it, so this just allows you to have full screen real estate, especially when you're watching movies, so you have a distraction free experience, but you still be able to use the camera and have that selfie mode there. As you can see, the camera's in the background, but yeah, so the camera is just placed just underneath that display. Elsewhere we have 7,200 mAh battery, and this supports 80 watts fast charge and 80 watt wireless charging as well, but you need an extra kit to be able to use that 80 watt wireless charging. For the camera, we have a 50 megapixel main camera at f1.7, we have 50 megapixel f1.8 ultra wide, 64 megapixel telephoto lens at f2.48, and that front on the display camera is a 16 megapixel shooter. As mentioned already, that processing power in there is a Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. So this should work really smoothly, which it does. I've been using it for a bit and it's just really nice and smooth. No issues there at all in terms of using it. The software doesn't have much bloatware at all, just the pre-installed Google software that's on there, which is actually really good because most Chinese smartphones comes with a bunch of bloatware. But this one seems to be pretty bloatware free and it's just really nice and smooth and clean. It's just really nice. They've compromised in some areas. For example, when it comes to that selfie camera, it's not the best of selfie cameras out there. It's kind of like on the softer side. It's not the best of cameras. And also the haptic feedback and the vibration doesn't feel as quite premium as your higher end smartphones out there. So that's another area where you start to feel where they've compromised to make this as cheap as possible. Elsewhere, the stereo sound is not as good as some of the competitors on the market in terms of flagship devices or phones rocking this kind of processing power. It doesn't have that good level of speaker sound, and cooling could do with some work as well. It's not the best when it comes to cooling. It gets hot sometimes when you do some hardcore gaming, so you have to think about that on this. Software as well, we have only 3 years of support that's promised. So if you're someone who really worries about that kind of stuff, then this is probably not one for you, but you do get 3 years of support promised. Digging deeper into the software so we can swipe up for all your applications. What they've done, there's no magazine on the other side now. They've removed that. I believe that used to be on the older one, which would have been amazing if they had that. But let's go into settings and see the kind of stuff that you can expect. So if we go into settings, and then you got all the usual options here. So theme and personalization. So you can personalize this in terms of your always on display, fingerprint effects, and so on and so forth. You got all your daily wallpaper if you want to have that change all the time as well. We go back out and then we go to home screen. This is where you can do things like your home layout in terms of how many icons you get on there, your drawer mode, entirely up to you. And then we go further down and we go into our sounds and vibration. So you can change obviously all your sound settings and so on. And then we scroll all the way down here. We have live capture. We've got DTS sound available as well. And then if you go to more sound settings, that's where you can change things like your dial tones. And then you got haptic feedback. And even on the highest strength of the haptic, it still feels quite weak, in my opinion. Let's go all the way back out. And then we can go into things like your Nubia AI. So it doesn't have a lot of AI features like some of the smartphones out there, but you can go into AI and you got things like privacy sticker, call assist, live translator, and Google Translate. So basically all the basic things, I know that sounded weird, but you get all the basic things available in terms of the AI feature and sidebar, call assistant, and smart communications, all there for you as well. Security, you get fingerprint sensors there, which is good. Inside features, you get more options available as well. So things like screen edge mistouch prevention, recording screen floating windows, gestures and motions. That's where you find all those extra things that you can turn on or off. And then in the battery, you can see your battery status there, 100% at the moment, which will give you 49 hours. That's a lot of battery power. And then you can still do things like ultra battery saver, extreme cold mode, and all kind of different things and see what applications are consuming your battery as well. You can see all that information there. We've already gone through display, so you can see where you're able to change your refresh rate, and the rest of it is pretty much that in terms of what you get on the device itself. One of the weird things I found on here as well is when you go to About Phone, it tells me I'm running Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 mobile, but that's not correct. This is actually Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, which is in there. But elsewhere, you do get 16 gigabytes here, and you get 512 gigabytes of internal storage, 16 gig for the RAM, that is. So everything else is pretty much accurate. But that's pretty much it in terms of the settings. So we go inside the camera and see what options we have as well. Loads of options available here. So we go to camera family, which is where you can do things like Milky Way at night, Star Trail. So these are kind of like all the effects that you can use your phone to do, which is on the camera family. We go to street photography. This I've seen before, but I'm not entirely sure why this is different from just regular photo. Apart from the fact that it just tells you that's 35mm in terms of focal length, that's a 50mm equivalent. And then up top here, you got things like different effects in terms of color. This reminds me of the iOS feature where you can change the warmth and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that's what you'd get with street photography on here. We got to portrait mode. You got 35mm, 50 and 85. 85 is one of my favorite ones to shoot at when it comes to that portrait mode. You can change the exposure as well. You can lock it in, and then you go to photo. This is where, again, you can shoot different settings. You can always swipe up at any time to get more settings. So you got Smart AI on, you got Color Master, Tracking Autofocus, all that usual stuff, and then you can go to more settings to change things around if you want to do that. And then we go into video, and then you can change the resolution right up top there. So at the moment it's set to 4K at 30, but you can shoot also 4K 60 and 4K 120 for slow motion as well if you wish to do so. And then going across is your Pro mode, which allows you to change things like shutter speed, white balance, ISO, autofocus. So very easy to use the interface. It's very straightforward, and you can use your shoots. You can even save it in RAW mode as well. So really cool stuff here. And then you can also swipe up to see what other effects or settings are available. So your aspect ratio is up, down there as well. So you can swipe up and see what options you have available. So that's pretty much it in terms of the user interface and the camera settings and so on. So how does this actually perform in terms of in reality? I think it does really well. I say this a lot about smartphones, but I think this day and age is hard to find a phone that doesn't work well. But in terms of all the basics, so when it comes to gaming, it does really well with gaming. Call of Duty, no problem at all. It does that with ease. And also multitasking, very smooth, no problems there at all. You got 16 gigabytes of RAM, it's LPDDR5X plus. And you also get a fast storage in there for storing your data and moving files and all that kind of stuff. Everything that helps the device to run smoothly, it's all working together very well with no problems. It gets warm at times, especially when gaming, you start to feel it. The display is really good as well. It's sharp enough. It's not the brightest of all, but I think it does decently, especially for that price point. So I'm not going to fault it too much. I think it holds its own in that area. Anything else is the battery life as well. Really good battery life. It's so big. And it supports fast charge as well. So you can charge this really quickly. I think 80 watt is insane. I mean, for the price point, I think you are getting a whole lot of phone for your money here. So overall, really good. It scores highly as well when it comes to the benchmark tools. So whether it's 3D Mark, PC Mark, etc., it scores highly up there. So that's nothing to worry about there. So overall, really good phone. I think if that's your price point of what you've got, then this is definitely one to consider. Yeah, apart from that software support promise for 3 years, I think they should have extended that to like at least 5 years. 3 years is not that much. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any questions, drop them there as well. I'll do my best to answer, and I shall see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.